All right, 3, 2, 1. Hi, this is William Ramsey. Welcome to William Ramsey Investigates. On tonight's show, I have a returning guest, Roberta Glass. We spoke about two other things this month. It's been a very busy month. Keith Raniere's kind of legal stunt to try to elicit sympathy for his predicament. And I think he will be sentenced next week, I think Tuesday or Wednesday. And we also talked about Mark Furman's terrible West Memphis 3 I couldn't call it a documentary. It's something else, but attempted understanding. Well, he got it all wrong. So anyway, we talked about, but today we're going to talk about something that happened just 2 days ago, the release of this deposition of Ghislaine Maxwell. Was released October 22nd. And the deposition took place, I think it was back in 2016, April 22nd, 2016. It was an all-day affair. From 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. was when it ended up through multiple breaks. But attending it were, and this was in the case of Giuffre versus Maxwell. There were 3 attorneys there, Sigrid McCauley, Brad Edwards, who was also involved in Florida. I think Sigrid's also from Florida, but also Paul Cassell. And I have the response of Paul Cassell to some of the litigation that took place earlier on my website if people want to see it. It's very interesting insights into Mr. Dershowitz and Cernovich. But so they were attending. Brad Edwards and Paul Cassell never said anything, but they seemed to be in the deposition room that took place in New York, at the offices of Boyd Schiller, 575 Lexington Avenue. And for Maxwell was Jeffrey Pagliuca and Laura Menninger. Her attorneys are from Colorado for some strange reason. There was a videographer there. I haven't seen the video yet, but I think it's an important document about Maxwell because when she was arrested in the indictment, there were 2 counts, 2 of the more recent counts that were based upon this deposition. She had 2 perjury counts, and I think it's very important to understand because these are probably the counts that will stick as opposed to the other 4, which were events that took place decades ago. So this is a very recent deposition. So I'm delighted to have Roberta's read it. I've read it. So Roberta, are you there? Sorry for the long intro.
Yes, no, it's important to put it in context, you know.
Yeah. So I think
We've been waiting so long for this to be unsealed.
Yes. Yeah.
And so when it was finally unsealed, I think everybody rushed to read it, and in some ways, it's a big nothing burger. In that Maxwell just thinks she's going to lie her way out of it. Every question she said she's never seen underage people. She barely remembers Virginia Roberts Giuffre. It goes on and on and on.
Yeah, no, she just deflected all the time, and she couldn't remember. She was never with, and I've read Virginia Giuffre's autobiography, her biography, which is in the Maxwell court record, and there's 2 totally different narratives because also Giuffre says oh, I was never at that house. I was there once a year, where she, according to Giuffre, that Maxwell's an essential part of everything. She was always around Jeffrey and all this stuff. So I found that to be a pretty interesting contrast.
And it's a very interesting. I mean, most people don't want to be deposed because of this. You can't lie. So she's in this position. She can lie and hope that she won't be charged with perjury. That didn't work out too well.
True.
She can lie and hope that the flight records, her emails, all the other records, and all the testimony of everyone else that contradicts what she's going to say, hope that she doesn't get in trouble in that way. Or what could she have done? Could she have, some of the questions she's instructed not to answer by her attorney, and she doesn't. But when you're guilty, it's not a good idea to be deposed.
Right, and I found that interesting because at the very end of the deposition, they're asking her about her avoidance of an earlier deposition involving Edwards. Did you note that part? So it's like
Yes,
she's
that was
already,
a
yeah,
fabulous part. Yeah,
yeah,
I'd say it's a nothing burger in that I think people thought that there would be all sorts of names dropped. They're all redacted, but I think it's a really important read to understand. She talks about, just for 1 second, she talks about, I'm not interested in Jeffrey Epstein. This is all about Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not in it.
right,
And then she says at another point, I'm not interested in what happens to Jeffrey Epstein. I'm only interested in what happens to myself. I'm paraphrasing. I wrote down the exact quote, but that will give you an idea of what kind of person she is. But she says she wasn't avoiding. To go back to your question, she wasn't avoiding the original deposition. It was just that her mother was ill,
right,
and then she blames it on there's a confusion between another deposition and how horrible Bradley Edwards is and blah, blah, blah. But then they say, well, you went to what appears to be Chelsea Clinton's wedding
right.
2 weeks later. So your mom was well enough for you to fly to Chelsea Clinton's wedding, but you didn't want to be deposed then.
Right. I
You
think
couldn't be
it was
deposed.
back in New York too. So she flew back to
Right.
New York. Yeah. So that was very interesting. But yeah, and she forgot everything. She conveniently forgot the whole story of her meeting Virginia Roberts. According to Virginia Roberts, she was at Trump's Mar-a-Lago, and then so she just like, no, I don't even know. I just remember her mom. I remember talking to her mom outside. I don't even know what happened inside. She just deflected that.
And Virginia Roberts Giuffre says that her father brought her, and I read her father's deposition where he said he brought her. So I don't know what we're talking. And then she says, I know that Virginia Roberts Giuffre is a liar, and she didn't have sex with Epstein while she was up giving him a massage, but she said she was outside talking to Giuffre's mother. So how does she know what went on in that room?
Right.
How can she say? And then there's the other problem where she says, I know that Virginia Roberts Giuffre is a terrible person,
Right.
but then she also says she hardly knows her.
Right.
So
A
do
good
you
point.
hardly know her, or is she a terrible
Yeah.
person?
Yeah.
Which
She's
is
an awful fantasist. So that's what the whole lawsuit was about, is that she called Giuffre a liar. So that was
it?
it. So she was supposedly lying. So she just kept calling her a liar all throughout this 9-hour deposition. Oh no, she's an awful fantasist. She's a terrible person.
And they had to say, the lawyer had to say, Virginia's lawyer, we're not talking about Virginia. They had to stop her because at every turn she wanted to talk about what a horrible liar Virginia Giuffre was. And I think that gives you some insight into her mindset, that she thought that with her class and her privilege, she could just come in there and say, look, I'm a wonderful part of the elite society. And this troubled fantasist is accusing me of terrible things.
Right.
That's
That's
enough.
true.
My position in society is enough.
Yeah. I mean, and she's like, she uses like the British terms like whilst and rubbish. So I kind of get this kind of flippant attitude from her. But yeah, here's another line for her. Another one of Virginia's many fictitious lies and stories to make this a salacious event to get interest in press. It's absolute rubbish, but I don't think it really had that much press back in 2016. Maybe I was wrong, but
You know what's really funny though is her description of her job for Epstein,
right.
which is now, is she into building houses? She's hiring architects. She's hiring interior designers. And what is she in construction now? You know, what kind of job is that? But then she's very unclear of the salary. It's under 500,000 K, but it's more than 100K. And then she doesn't remember the gifts that Epstein got her, including a car. I mean, I
Right.
pretty much remember every gift I've ever gotten in my life.
Yeah,
It's very
she
close to
couldn't
it.
remember how much she paid for her house too, which is like super important. Like you can't remember that? Like what? So she like had it. Her memory was very selective. But yeah,
Right.
yeah, but
Someone
she's
gives me a
yeah.
car, I'm going to remember it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, there was always this issue of how old Virginia Roberts was at the time, and whether it was 17 or 15. So they keep asking that, and also Macaulay keeps asking, like, did you ever see anybody under 18? And she just dodges it, just keeps dodging that question.
Oh, and there's also very interesting sensitivities to words, and from the beginning. She says, I don't understand. She's asked originally if she recruited any females under
Right.
the age of 18. And she goes, I don't know what you mean by female. I'm a 54-year-old woman. So the word female triggers her, the word minor, there's all these words that trigger her. The word recruit triggers her.
Right.
I never recruited. I don't know what you mean. I was hiring,
Right.
hiring architects.
I had an official position, hiring
I had
people.
an official position, but I don't know what my salary was. Uh, it should be mocked in some ways, but there's also some very interesting stuff with her putting out lies about Virginia Giuffre in the press that I thought was fascinating.
Yeah, that
Do you
was
remember that
interesting.
part?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was kind of at the end. Was They kept asking him. I mean, it was interesting too because they had during discovery, they'd obtained emails between her and Epstein in 2015 talking about Giuffre. So it was fairly recent that she was clearly involved in Jeff talking to Epstein, but she was just trying to avoid anything connecting her to him. I was never at those houses. I was there once a year. Do you remember that part? But yeah,
Right. I was hardly involved ever. I don't remember who I flew all the time. But remember when she said she doesn't know if GM in the flight logs is herself,
right.
and she
Yeah,
can't think of another GM that would be flying
right. No, I
with
did.
Jeffrey Epstein so
No,
often.
yeah, no.
And
But where was that? I'm trying to find the part in my notes where she was talking about the press, like she was trying to.
well, in the Daily Mail in 2011, she tried to float out a story that Virginia Giuffre cried rape, and that the police didn't even investigate it because she was so found not credible.
Interesting.
And then there's another thing where they're talking about the Guardian article, and Epstein says it will end. Here's from our friends from the Guardian article. It will end,
Interesting.
um, and that was this will now end. He wrote.
Right, and for people who don't know, they've cracked a number of the names. So they actually made a mistake when they put this whole thing out because the deposition has an index at the end, and you can tell who some of these people are. Robert Gow was who they were talking to in the UK. Seems to be a contact or an influential person. But also Alfredo Rodriguez is mentioned in the Black Book. So there is an article for people who are interested. A lot of the names have been cracked, not all of them.
Hmm.
But yeah, there's a lot of interesting facts in this, I think.
Well, there's another part where she's really hostile. They ask her what country she's a citizen of it, and she says,
Right.
"I'm a citizen of Terramar," which is
Yeah,
her nonprofit environmental group. It was
right.
very odd.
Yeah, that was odd. But she had some kind of moment too where they kept asking her questions. She pounded on the table, right?
Hmm.
And then they
Yeah.
stopped it. But one of the interesting aspects of that was that after that outburst happened, before they called a break, she said, I never threatened anybody. Do you remember that part?
Yes.
So she
Right.
blatantly says she never, and they never asked her anything about that in the deposition yet, because they didn't get to the parts where she supposedly threatened somebody. So she had an outburst, said, I didn't threaten anybody, right? I want the record to know. She kind of was interjecting. She was trying to take over from the attorney, Macaulay, and Sigrid Macaulay wasn't having it, but she was definitely trying to interject certain things, and that was one of the things that she said that I thought
That
was,
happened multiple times where she said,
yeah,
"Your questions aren't good.
right,
You're not, I'm asking the questions, you know."
right.
And she has control issues. I said no, don't worry. And then the lawyer says, "Don't worry, I'm paying attention." And she says, "I object." And she says, "What do you want to? What are you turning into a lawyer now?"
Right. And then she said, I wouldn't mind being a lawyer. I think she said something like that in that.
Right.
And
Yes.
yeah, here's another good one she said about Virginia Roberts. On what I know is a liar, she's a liar, an exaggerator, a fantasist, and an absolutely, truly terrible person. So that was another one. But yeah, it was very interesting. So they did ask her about her threatening people. And I
Yes.
actually wrote down in my notes about how many times they asked this one question. I think they asked it like literally 12 times. They asked it over and over and over again. And let me find that. It's incredible. I had a lot of notes of that in this. And they kept asking her, did you ever, one of the other things that was interesting is they asked, did you know how Jeffrey Epstein made his money? And she answered, no. She had no idea. And she would have known him from 1992 to that date, 2016.
91, yeah.
91.
Yeah. Right. She said she started working for him in 92. And they ask if Jeffrey Epstein works for the government or the Mossad.
Right.
And she answers she can't recall if he ever told her that. So I would say that's yes and yes on both of those.
Yeah,
questions.
she said, does Jeffrey Epstein any relationship with the U.S. government, for the CIA or the FBI in his lifetime? And then she asked, Jeffrey Epstein have an affiliation with the Israeli government?
Mm-hmm.
And did you direct him to leak to the press criminal allegations about Virginia Roberts? I already testified that I have no knowledge of what you were asking me. Yeah, that was one. I'm trying to find this one part of my notes, but it was like they asked her this, 11 times, that was it. Are you aware of any interstate or international transportation of a woman aged 18 or 28 for the purposes of prostitution? And they asked her that 11 times. She just kept deflecting and BSing and all that stuff.
And she also didn't know that Jeffrey Epstein did jail time for procuring a minor for prostitution. She just knew he was in jail, she said. This is just, she went up in front of a jury and did this rap. They would just hate her.
Yeah.
Hate her.
And
this
then
would not fly.
Yeah, then she tried to deflect the whole picture of her, Prince Andrew, and Giuffre in her London flat and just BS'd her whole way through it.
Well, they talk about an outfit at Burberry that she bought for Virginia. Was I understanding that right?
No, that's right.
And she said,
yeah.
And she says, well, that outfit is so poorly put together. I have no recollection of going to Burberry with Virginia Giuffre. And the outfit is so poorly put together. I can't imagine me or poor looking, or I don't know, whatever she said. I'm paraphrasing, but I can't imagine me buying it or something like that.
Right.
It reminded me of the OJ, I would never wear those ugly ass shoes comment. And then they, bring out the picture of OJ wearing the Bruno Mali shoes. Right. It's the liar's argument.
Right, and they did actually bring a lot of exhibits into, which I haven't seen yet, but there were clearly a lot of things they were referencing in the deposition that I don't know if that was released, the pictures that they were referencing, but there was definitely, I would like to see the exhibits to this deposition. But
me too.
She said in her response, what I'm representing is that her entire ludicrous and absurd story of what took place in my house is an obvious lie. So, it's just unbelievable. She just really deflected everything.
And here's my other question about this. So, if, the thing that really sunk Maxwell in this is that there were the police reports from 30 girls who had been abused by Jeffrey Epstein. Right. And they brought those out, and that supported Virginia's story. So if that didn't exist, if these women had never come forward, these women or girls, I'm not sure how old they were when they came forward, if that didn't exist, would Maxwell and Epstein be able to get away with this? You know what I mean? If it was just Virginia Giuffre's word against Maxwell.
Right. Good point. No, I don't know. I don't know if that would work, but I think that's probably the basis of the two perjury claims, is that they probably had testimony from multiple girls or women that, these things there were sex toys and sexual activity and,
the question. She trolls a
bit
with the sex toy stuff. I don't know what you mean. Can you describe sex toys just to embarrass the lawyer?
Right, yeah, she said. Right? Yeah, so true. Like, she played dumb all this stuff. I have no idea what you're talking about, she would keep saying.
And she was buying time a lot. I don't understand the question.
Right.
You went to Oxford. I think you English is your native language. But I
No,
love when she
yeah.
suggests that GM could be Georgina or George. Someone else, some other GM flying all the time with Epstein.
I'm glad that you said that because she did say something really snobby to her. It was, I'm English, so you could have some difficulty understanding the way I communicate.
Hmm.
Do you remember that one?
Yes, I
Oh man,
do.
yeah,
I really encourage people to read this.
yeah.
Maybe it's not. I think people are disappointed that we can't figure out all the names yet.
Mhm.
I think people will start putting things together a little bit more. But still, I mean, this will really give you an idea of who we're dealing with, who these people are.
I think
Really
that's a good point.
awful,
Yeah,
dark.
yeah. Very dark. I mean, just a blizzard of lies, deception, evasions, all kinds of stuff, exaggerations. I mean, the fact that she could avoid like all the quiet, like I don't even know what Giuffre was up to. I don't know how he made his money. They should have asked her how she made her money. They may not have known at the time that she had tons of cash in the bank in multiple banks. But they also tried to pin down on her the Black Book, the notorious Black Book by Rodriguez, because Rodriguez said he got it off of her computer, right? And
Hmm.
so I don't believe this. This is obviously what I know. She says, I can only testify to what I know, obviously, and I believe that this is a copy of a stolen document. I would love to know how you guys got it. I mean, and then
Not
she,
that it's untrue, but that it's stolen.
right, good
You're the
point.
real criminals. It's just deflection. You're the real criminals for bringing up this stolen document.
Right, and she had supposedly threatened Rodriguez. So they asked her. And this is after her outburst that she said, "I never threatened anybody." They asked her, "Did you ever tell Rodriguez that he better watch out and keep his mouth shut with respect to what occurred at Mr. Epstein's home?" She did. She said she didn't know that.
She didn't remember,
Yeah,
or
she
she
didn't
didn't.
remember. And then they
She
asked her,
doesn't
Have
remember.
you ever directed anyone to call any witnesses relevant to this case and threaten them not to testify?"
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that was interesting. And then they tried to get Roberts on some kind of grand theft. Do you remember that part?
Yes.
Yeah. So it says you presumably draw attention to the fact that prior to filing her suit against Mr. Epstein, Miss Roberts fled the U.S. to avoid being arrested for grand theft. What grand theft were we referring to there that Virginia Roberts committed?
Mhm.
Yeah. So I mean, it's so like it was a long time ago. I don't remember, but she had something from 2011, which is not that long ago from 2016. She couldn't remember that either.
No. Yeah. Terrible. Terrible. So, from this deposition, do you think she's going to go to trial, or is she going to make a deal?
I think she'll try to make a deal. I think she'll just accept the fact that she has to do time. I don't think she could go to trial. Imagine her pulling these stunts in front of a jury. I just don't think that it would be terrible. They would just think she was involved in more. I mean, if they find out more information too during their inquiry, they could send an amended complaint with even more criminal stuff on it. So there's probably tons of damaging information yet to come out, I think. So I don't know what's going on. But it's interesting, though, because the person who I think was involved in filing this, Strauss, is actually leaving that office again. So they've had Berman, and now Strauss is leaving. So something's going on, I think, in the Southern District of New York district federal office.
Yeah.
But
It's too bad because
yeah,
it looks like, these abuse cases, New York is making a name for them. So I don't know.
right.
You don't want that office to be in disrepair.
Yeah, especially with these very high-profile cases. I mean,
So
I,
I have the opposite reaction, but maybe I'm just hopeful because I'm hoping for a trial. But
uh,
I thought, is she so arrogant that she would go in and she lied on her bail application? She lied in this thing. I think she still thinks she might get out of this. And if she makes a deal, is it going to be a Claire Bronfman deal? Is she going to pay restitution and just
well, she's already
leave this?
settled this case, right? She already settled with Giuffre, so that's done.
Right. Yes. Right.
So that payment is done now. It's between her and the state.
That's what I'm talking
Right.
about.
So I
Her
don't know
going
what the
to trial.
damages they would try to impose upon her. It'll be interesting. But if it's anything like the Jeffrey Epstein case where all these people came out of the woodwork to make a statement, something like that could be happening in this case where the government knows that they can prove perjury by just a mountain of evidence, right?
Right.
So they probably have other things on her. I mean, I don't know the totality of it, but I mean, for me, this deposition was terrible for her. I mean, especially coming out public, because people are pouring all over this thing trying to figure it out. You told me that Dershowitz is like, oh yeah, you can unredact my name from this, probably because he knows that there was nothing really that incriminating about him, right?
Because he has nothing to hide, he says.
Right. He's got nothing to
None
hide.
of these stunts work for Dershowitz. You know, I think the public's opinion has been made a long time ago. Mine has been made up a long time ago with Dershowitz. Guilty. Sorry, but he's not talking his way out of it. He looks so guilty, and so, he was part of getting the deal for Epstein in Florida.
Right.
I mean, he's up to his. You can't say he's not involved.
True. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Macaulay asked her 8 times, "Do you believe Jeffrey Epstein sexually abused minors?" They had to keep asking because she just evaded.
Yeah, or had an interest in minors too. That was another thing she evaded.
Right. Anything under 18. So.
And they asked her if she thought it was wrong, and she wouldn't. If it was damaging, remember that part? Is it damaging to call a victim of sexual abuse a liar? Is it damaging to sexually abuse a minor? And any normal person would say yes.
Yeah, that's true. No, I noticed that.
So, not in her case. She's not sure. She doesn't want to answer. Can't recall. I mean,
right. Yeah.
It just makes you want to take a shower after you read it. And I was talking to my mom about it, and I said, where the whole country, I'm talking about just the citizens of this country, are outraged over this story. Yeah. Where is the outrage from politicians? How many more Jeffrey Epsteins are there?
Good question.
Is this just regular fare?
How many of these politicians were involved with Epstein or
someone like him?
Right. I mean, it's pretty incredible. I just did a story on Nygaard, who was in the Caribbean and
right.
trafficking women, and Epstein was connected to what's the guy out of New Mexico and Mitchell. So don't know who else is in that black book. The black book has tons of names.
Richardson,
so,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Richardson, right? Yeah. Here's another one.
Don't you think it would be good for someone's political career to say, "Hey, this has got to stop. Enough trafficking, girls and women."
I think so.
But
I would think so.
No more Jeffrey Epsteins, but nothing. Just I can't believe the radio silence. I mean, what's going on here?
It's very strange. Certain people do not. I mean, I would say the alternate media is all over Epstein, but the corporate media and all these known figures barely. I mean, the story's done. We're done with Epstein. Let's move forward. Got other things to talk about. I mean, the same thing happened with Hunter Biden. That's a huge story. I mean, I don't even know what's on his computer, but them taking bribes.
It's very scary, the censorship of Facebook.
Yeah.
Very scary, and YouTube, and Twitter. I mean,
I actually just uploaded a story about the murder of Vince Foster on Speaker, and they shut it down. I don't even know. People couldn't download it. YouTube was, on Spreaker. They couldn't get through. It was the only time that's ever happened to me on 250 or 300 shows. The only time that it just wasn't available. People would try to download it through iTunes and just not available.
And YouTube brought up the little official Wikipedia story, so people can have a reference, factual reference.
Isn't that unbelievable? They were on that within the hour of it being posted. Can you believe that little sub?
On JFK and other topics, other hot topics, they do that with. Yeah.
Yeah. So the censorship is incredible. I mean, I've had some of the guys, Derek Brose actually, who was one of the first people I interviewed about Epstein before he was arrested. Brose had done like 3 documentaries on Epstein, but was in front of his house in Palm Beach. He just had his entire YouTube channel erased. So I don't know if he'll ever get it back. But I mean, that's incredible because he was really one of the early guys was Bros, some reporting by Opperman, and one other guy, but not too
Pierce
many.
Redmond,
Yeah,
yeah.
Pierce Redmond, yeah. So, yeah, scary times. I mean, I'm not invested in YouTube at all. I expect my channel to go bye-bye. And they actually did that in 2016. They did that to me. They shut down both of my channels. I had a backup channel too. They shut them both down during the election, right around this time.
And Atheism is Unstoppable is another one. That channel's just gone. I mean, there's so many of them.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about, true crime stuff, factual true crime stuff, there you go, gone.
Right. No, it's incredible. It's really incredible. And then they just can say something really Orwellian. Community guidelines violated, done, and that's it. Oh, you
But
just
you can put
violated
up as many factually inaccurate things on the West Memphis 3 as you want, as
tons.
long as that's that narrative.
Yeah.
Go for it, right?
I mean, most of the people commenting on the West Memphis 3 have it wrong or are intentionally obfuscating the facts. So,
right.
I mean,
yeah,
these are strange days, man. Really strange. I think that you have to kind of plan on eventually getting to some kind of alternate tech. I mean, I don't know any other way around it.
Right. It's just a very, very scary time, and I don't think people are getting it.
Yeah.
I don't. Some of us are getting it, but I don't know if people are really getting how important a dialogue is from all different perspectives.
Yeah, just letting people talk. I mean, I don't do any swearing at all. I just try to look at the facts of these cases, but I could be gone. And one of the reasons why I hope not too. One of the reasons I went to podcasts was try to avoid YouTube's constant gaming of the system and censorship and stuff like that. And now, I'm afraid that the censorship impetus to censor people will now be on this other kind of newer media where they'll just try to, curtail people from talking. Because some of these podcasts are really graphic. I mean, there's swearing, all kinds of stuff. So it's kind of weird that those people are allowed, as long as you're not talking about dicey political stuff. I guess it's okay.
Right. And what do you think of the Netflix lawsuit against the cuties?
The state suit against Netflix?
Yeah.
I think that they're in trouble. I think they're clearly in violation of the law of promoting child porn. Because I was even watching.
Did you see
I just watched the trailer. I didn't even watch the movie. I watched the trailer. I'm like, do you guys see what I'm seeing? Because this is child porn. I mean, it's exploiting underage kids. And I know people who, like some commentators on YouTube who actually watched the whole movie and they were in shock. Like it was bad. Like there was all kinds of taboos, just breaking taboos over and over again. I'm like, okay, well, I think one of them had this funny comment like, I watched Cuties and now I'm on the FBI watch list.
Right. I know. And there were some men who were like, it turned me on and it's a great film. I was like, wow,
Really?
You're exposing yourself.
Yeah. No, I mean, I wouldn't really. Even, I could tell you offline what I saw, but I would not even put it on the record. Just on the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Bad. So I think that Netflix, the consequences of that are them just being like pedo enabler are terrible public relations situation for them. They just seem to take it pretty blithely, but I think it's a terrible look for them, terrible optics, promoting that.
Yeah, they've been pushing all sorts of stuff, as you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Factually inaccurate stuff about true crime.
True.
Trans and kids, all that stuff, Well,
yeah, what was that Berlinger book, a Berlinger film they put out about that serial killer that people were like, why
Ted
are you...
Bundy?
Yeah. The Ted Bundy thing.
Bundy looked like, dreamboat.
Yeah, weird. I mean, I wouldn't expect it from somebody else, but Berlinger, I'm not surprised.
No.
It seems actually, making a killer look good seems to be something associated with Berlinger, if you know what's going on.
Or a sexual predator like Tony Robbins. He did that whole love letter documentary to Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins, we haven't heard anything about what's going on with his sexual harassment allegations. that just sort of disappeared into thin air.
Strange days. Is there anything else about this deposition that you'd like to add before we kind of wrap it up?
I think I think it's just very interesting, and it made me aware that you always have to wonder what's going on behind the scenes with these stories. Who's floating out stuff to which reporter? Who's keeping certain things out of articles?
Well, we know that Maxwell actually paid these two kind of like I think they're called right-wing activists, but she paid them to do a story. If you remember that, I can't even remember their names.
Smear the victims, yeah.
Yeah, so we know that she was around that. Here's one thing that was interesting that I forgot to mention. She says, she's saying this to the other woman attorney, who really I thought did a great job, Sigrid McCauley. Quote, "You don't ask me questions like that. First of all, you are trying to trap me. I will not be trapped. I totally resent and find it disgusting that you use the word recruit. I already told you I don't know what you're saying about that, and your implication is repulsive." So she knows that recruiting people is bad, but that's all people are talking about, that she was a recruiter, particularly of Virginia Roberts. That's what Virginia Roberts is saying. So.
It's the area of sensitivity. It's funny, I wrote the same thing down. You're trying to trap me. Right, so it was an interesting part of the deposition, for sure.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a worthwhile read. No question. Mm-hmm. How do you know GM is me? That's what she said, too. So are you looking at this flight log? It says JE, GM, and Virginia. The GM you are saying is not you? Her response is, how do you know the GM is me? So it just kind of went on and on.
On and on. And the whole thing is amazing. And it's not a hard read. I was expecting a lot harder read, you know. It's a long read, but it's not a hard read, you know. I really encourage people to read it.
Yeah, definitely. So tell me about what you're going to go do with Keith Raniere. When is it, Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tuesday, the 27th.
The sentencing. So they're just going to, if he gets sentenced to what, they're just going to drag him off to jail, huh?
Yeah, he's already in jail.
Right, drag him off to other place.
Right? So jail, I think they'll take him to jail until he gets assigned to prison and then ship him off there. But I think everybody's expecting him to get life in prison with this judge. I can't see with all the... I mean, he was found guilty on every charge. I can't imagine any lesser a sentence for him.
What's the sentencing?
And a lot of victims are going to be speaking, so what? I'm sorry. What was your question?
What's the like sentencing parameters? Like, how many years is he possibly going to get?
Oh gosh, I used to know this, but I think it's like some of them, each count has, some of them have 20 up to 25 something years. I think altogether, you know, it's going to be life. Yeah, and he should be put away for forever. And the fact that he's doing these interviews with Frank Parlato, and the Frank Report, if you've looked at it for the past week, has just been, basically a platform for NXIVM people and Keith Raniere.
Yeah, it's so strange too, because I interviewed Parlato before Raniere got arrested, so it's quite the turn by Parlato to now be willing to listen to what Raniere.
He had a newsletter that goes out to people who subscribe to the Frank Report. That's like all the judge. It's terrible that the judge didn't take into consideration that Michelle Hatchett and Nikki Klein wanted to testify and that they were threatened by the prosecutor. It's all nonsense. Keith Raniere did not want to put on a defense. He chose not to. He didn't testify in his own defense, and he didn't ask anyone to testify for him. He thought the prosecution's case was so weak, he took a gamble, and it did not work for him.
Yeah, Mr. 220 IQ didn't quite assess that correctly.
He was writing Post-it notes like a madman. It was clear he was in charge of his own defense. He had the trial he wanted, and it didn't work out. Now he's crying that it was all an unfair trial. It's just the same narrative that you see in the wrongful conviction movement. We don't want Keith Raniere necessarily to be freed. We just want him to have a fair trial. But you know that if he had another trial and that he was convicted again on all these counts, that they would again call it unfair and have another beef with it. It's just it's really such a fake thing, this thing that they didn't get a fair trial. It's just a way
Yeah.
to
It's just
say,
the standard response, right? The standard,
right.
oh, I didn't get a fair trial. I mean, they do. That usually pops right up the first thing on appeal, but those are often addressed and assessed. So I suspect he will appeal his sentence, do you think?
Oh, sure. As long
So,
as he can stay, he wants to be the center of attention as much as he can, and he also wants to get out of jail and prison. He wants
right.
out.
So do you think you'll be making a report about what you see on Tuesday night?
Probably Wednesday,
Probably
probably be
Wednesday.
out
So
Wednesday. I'm
people,
taking a little bit more time now
cool.
and really thinking about what I want to say. But yeah.
So people can go to Roberta Glass True Crime Report Tuesday. That would be the 27th, right?
Right. So it will
October
be out
27th.
Wednesday,
Yeah. Oh,
hopefully.
sorry.
Yeah.
So that'll be 28th. Yeah. So people
28th
go
it'll
check
be
that
out.
out. Go look at to see what goes on with Raniere. I'll be interesting to see what his victims say. They get that time in court, because I think that what the
Yeah.
victim said about Epstein was incredible. I actually did my own show about that because the media never even addressed it. They just took
Wow.
pictures of him outside, but they didn't really go through the totality of all the statements against Epstein. So anyway, Roberta Glass, thank you so much for your time again. We're talking about Ghislaine Maxwell's deposition from April 22nd, 2016, which is online all over the place if people want to read it. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay.